Ready? Okay.
I think the American people are really intelligent. I think all of us women are intelligent. I think if you give me both sides to a story, or you tell me, or you kind of like have a back and forth, I think that we're all smart enough to make our own decisions. And you don't get that. So a lot of the times, because you are getting such a strong message from the mainstream media, I like to do the rebuttal. And so that's the reason why it's my passion to do it. I think everyone needs to see two sides to the argument. And so I am proudly the one who gives people the other side of that argument.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Day.
And I'm Anna Cantu.
And you're watching
EmpowHER.
This is the podcast designed for high-achieving women through powerful conversations on home, mindset, and business, so that you can live fully, lead boldly, and create a life that feels just as good as it looks.
So we're so excited today because we have none other than Breanna Morello.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you here. So you are an independent journalist and a radio personality.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Keeps me busy.
Huh?
Keeps me busy.
Yes, it does. I mean, you've been in this media space for over a decade, so literally all your life, right?
Yes.
And you've worked in very prominent spaces like Fox News, ESPN Plus, MLB, Advanced Media, just to name a few.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a crazy career. I can't believe it's been over 10 years now.
Wow.
And here we are. Independent journalism, I think it's going to save this country. I think it's going to save the world, because everyone's kind of venturing away from all these corporate media outlets and looking for different creative ventures to follow. So I'm excited.
Well, good.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Well, we love the fact that you're here today and you're going to share your story. So tell us your backstory and how you found your purpose on your work.
Yeah, so I initially started off, like you mentioned, in sports. And although I loved working and going onto like baseball fields and basketball courts and covering from that angle, I just felt like I needed to do something else. And so then I went over to the news side. Now, I've always been passionate about the news and always followed the news, but I just didn't know like if it was going to be for me. And so I started off in a teleprompter role, which is like, they say it's like a basic entry-level position, but everyone knows in that room that like you're the most important person because you're controlling the anchor who's on the set. And so like that's kind of how I started it. I learned it from the ground up. Within 3 months of working for Fox News, Fox Business, they had me kind of train on other things. And then before I knew it, I was producing content, and I was over at Newsmax a little bit producing content for their shows as well. And it's just been great. I mean, it's been a great time to kind of break into all of this. Obviously, politics is crazy, but I love breaking down like the basics of a story so everyone can understand what's going on in the world.
So that was 10 years ago.
It started 10 years ago, yeah. So I left Fox, I believe it was 2022. And then so I started helping other independent journalists kind of create their own platforms. And then I decided about a year and a half ago to do my own. And so I started my own show a year and a half ago.
So was journalism something you wanted to do as a kid?
Yeah, I always had a passion for it. I really enjoyed watching journalists and how they were breaking down stories and kind of telling the stories. I think it was really important. My mom actually wanted to be a journalist.
Really?
And so, yeah, so she started off wanting to be a journalist. And then she went on to have 7 kids, which is probably more important than anything.
Yes.
But so now, my mom's like, oh, send me all your stories, because she likes to go through them too and kind of look at how I'm doing my stories and stuff now. So it's been good. But I guess maybe it's just genetic, because my mom wanted to do it, and now I'm doing it. And so we're kind of always talking about what kind of stories I'm working on and stuff now. But yeah, journalism was always a thing for me.
So 7 kids. Okay, so where are you in that line of?
The middle. That's why I'm probably such a loud mouth.
We had to fight for our attention, right?
I know. I was always constantly like trying to fight for my mom. My mom, she's a stay-at-home mom, but like she's a very busy woman, obviously. There was always like a baby in diapers or something at some point in my life. And so we always had to fight for her attention. And so I was always the pusher, though. That's what they always joke about in my house, because I was always the one like asking questions, kind of being a wise guy and like challenging my parents on certain things they tell us. And now the joke is like I do that now with the government. So, and that's how that's journalism. You question everything, regardless of political affiliation. You're always supposed to be questioning and asking questions and fact checking people on things. And so my parents say that I'm putting that skill to good use these days.
Wow, so you were able to find out where the homework was when someone didn't take it.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
good.
love that.
I'm just getting this visual of you in the mirror talking into your hairbrush. And
I know, it's so crazy because I started off producing, and so I was never meant to do on-air stuff. But then like I would sit there and watch anchors, and I'd pour like my heart and soul into a story and spend like a whole weekend like calling up people for comment, like doing it. And then like a journalist would get on air, and so many of them do this. They get on air, you give them a script, they look into the camera, they read the script, but they don't read it with the same passion you have because you spent hours putting it together, and they're butchering the names because they didn't even care to read the script beforehand. And so I was always like, I can't keep doing this to myself. I've got to be the person telling these stories. And so that's why I switched
Preparation is
over.
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is.
wow. So let me ask you this, Breanna, let's kind of get below the surface just a tad.
Yeah.
What belief about yourself or your journey did you have to unlearn in order for you to become who you are today?
Let's see. So I used to, I guess I would say this. I used to constantly like think that I had to abide by the rules. So one of the reasons why I left Fox, and it was very public, was I just didn't believe in ever giving up your freedom for an employer. And so, but anytime I've ever budged to keep a job, like, when you do something and in your gut it's like not the right thing to do or goes against something that you truly do believe in, but you do it just to keep a job or keep someone happy, but it's always going to haunt you and bother you. So I had to like get rid of that thought in my head. Like, sometimes it's okay to push back a little bit and to not do something that later you'll regret. So even when
your
it's
convictions.
yes.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Day.
And I'm Anna Cantu, and we are Day and Cantu Luxury Homes here with EXP Luxury.
And we help families create abundance through the love and the harmony of home.
We are luxury real estate professionals here in Southlake and the surrounding areas.
So give us a call when you're ready to transition to your next level of luxury.
Well, tell us, so as a woman in journalism, why is it important for you to share your voice and perspective on what's happening in the world?
I think it's important because, there's a lot of bias in it, and I get it. Like I work for myself now, so now I am biased, obviously. But like, I think that people need to get the facts of both sides. So, and you don't get that. You don't get that from the mainstream media, regardless of what side. Nobody gets both angles from things. I think the American people are really intelligent. I think all of us women are intelligent. I think if you give me both sides to a story, or you tell me, or you kind of like have a back and forth, I think that we're all smart enough to make our own decisions. And you don't get that. So a lot of the times, because you are getting such a strong message from the mainstream media, I like to do the rebuttal. And so that's the reason why it's my passion to do it. I think everyone needs to see two sides to the argument. And so I am proudly the one who gives people the other side of that argument.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you give to women who are trying to break into the industry or trying to find success in your industry?
Yeah, I would say you probably don't need, one of my biggest regrets was actually going to college. And I know it sounds so foolish, but journalism, you don't need a college degree. You could literally just go out there and start. And like to this day, if I see a resume of someone who's like trying to work with me and the person doesn't have a college background, I will always call that person, because life experience is so much more important in this field than actually having a piece of paper that costs you like 80 grand.
Right.
And most of the time it's you don't learn as much as you learn. Like, I learned a lot in community college, but when I got my 4-year degree, I didn't learn that much from any of it. I didn't need it. So I would say for folks, if you're looking to do this for yourself, just go out there, look up your local public hearings, your local community hearings, and then just go there as a journalist. Independent journalism is going to save this country, and everyone knows now that independent journalism is a thing on the rise. So you don't need to work for a big corporate outlet. You could reach out to comment to anyone. I reach out to comment on a story all the time. Maybe I'll get like, out of 4 times I reach out, 1 person will reply, but there's your story. And so don't be afraid to do that. Start up your own platforms and just go for it yourself. You don't need anyone else to help you with it. You don't need a big major media outlet behind you. You could literally just go hit the phones yourself, call, get a story yourself, and just look at the schedule. I mean, there's so much people love about like public hearings. They love the stuff that comes out in these public hearings because a lot of the times everyone else is going to miss it. But you could dig in, find something great, and just put it out there yourself. And always watermark your work, because people need to know where the source is on these things, because they often get lifted. That's another pro tip. Yeah.
way. So how can women stay true to themselves, right?
Yeah.
And push forward even when the industry becomes borderline dangerous and overwhelming?
Just know what your bottom line is. Why are you doing this? I think that's the key question everyone needs to ask themselves, right? Because like, why do I do it? Well, it's not because I'm going to become a millionaire off of this, but I do it because I'm passionate about getting the truth out there. And so if you ever get to a hurdle where you think that that's going to be kind of, you're going to sacrifice something or the truth because you have to, then don't do it. I mean, that's just kind of, you have to just kind of know where you stand in life and not be afraid to hold that line.
And I think that goes back to standing on your convictions, right? Really taking the opportunity to understand who you are, like you said, as a person, as a woman. You know, what do you believe in? What will you stand tall on, right? And what could you walk away from it all for? Because, you know, you want to be able to, you know, look at yourself in the mirror every day, feel good about, you know, the choices that you've made, instead of becoming a slave to things like money or people's approval, you know, outside of yourself. And I think so often, you know, women get caught up in that.
Yeah.
You know, we're just like these people-pleasing machines at times, and it's, you know, it costs us, you know, our ability to choose. It costs us our confidence. It costs us our worth, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, how many women do we know personally? And you know, it's not to be mean about it, but like who have worked so hard in life, but they're not happy because their personal, whatever it is, whether it's their morals, they feel like they've kind of let down a little bit, or they wanted to start a family and they didn't have the opportunity to do so because they worked so hard. I always just say to people, like, before you dive into any career, figure out what makes you happy and then figure it out, because there's so many women who are just not happy with what they take up. And then it's you're just going down a path, getting by every day, and then you get to a point where you're like, okay, where am I? And you kind of lost yourself a little bit. So we all have to kind of ask ourselves these questions before we make career choices, because again, a career could wait. I mean, whatever you want to do in life, a career could wait. You don't have to make that your first priority. I mean, I know so many people, heck, I'm going to be doing it soon too. I love cooking. I was telling you guys, I love cooking so much. I actually wanted to go to school for culinary, didn't do it, went to school for journalism instead at first, but you know, now I am 33 and I'm writing a cookbook. And so, yeah, it's like, you know, I wanted to do it.
And you came to the right place because I like food.
There you go. See, and this is like a real thing, and everyone's gonna love it, I hope. But yeah, it's a thing. It's like everything could wait. Like, you can just kind of prioritize it based on how you kind of want to map your career out. So don't rush. We've got a long time.
Absolutely.
So tell us more about the cookbook. What is it
Yeah.
about?
Well, it's a carnivore cookbook. So it's not out yet. We're gonna have it up for pre-sale soon in a couple of weeks. But it's okay. So I lost 30 pounds from just doing carnivore, and it's a very strict diet, but it's an enjoyable one. Like, once you get past like not having the pastas and the carbs, you feel a lot better. And for me, I felt better. It's not for everyone. I know a lot of people, like, they kind of had, like, when they did their blood work, it wasn't for them. But for me, it works out well. So it's like chicken parm meatballs. I also, carnivore means cheese. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah. Chicken parm meatballs, rib roast that's like stuffed with garlic, like all of these great recipes that get me through the week.
Oh, a good rib roast.
I know.
Honey, hush.
I literally bought for Easter, I stacked up at all the supermarkets. I brought like 8 of them. They're all sitting in my freezer now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, this will get me by.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
For the rest of the year, maybe.
So when will the book be ready?
It will be ready at late fall, so it'll be released by then on Amazon. So if you could head over to theindependentnewsroom.com, and if you sign up for the email subscription, it's free. We'll send you an email when it's available for pre-sale. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It's great for the holidays.
So we want ours autographed, right?
Yeah.
You've got it. I'm working on my signature right now. Now it looks like a doctor is like signing you a prescription. So we're trying to get a little bit better at that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I kind of want to be the person next to you and be like, you're next. No, you can go. Let's take a picture there.
Yes, let's do it. I like that. I like that.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you know, we appreciate you so much for coming and spending some time with us today. I think the biggest takeaway, you know, that we've learned from you most of all is to really hold on to your conviction, right? I think that was kind of the thing that we realized throughout our time together. And I feel like, you know, just kind of listening to you, that the quality of our lives really are determined by the questions that we end up asking ourselves, not outside of ourselves in the world around us, right? But within. And I think with that, you create a really strong, solid sense of self.
Yeah, and that's really important, honestly, because there's so many people out there who are trying to figure it out, and that's the best way to live life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for watching another episode of EmpowHER. And I hope that you got all the tools and the resources and the real talk that you need in order to have it all. Hi, I'm Cynthia Day.
And I'm Anna Cantu, and we are Day & Cantu Luxury Homes here with eXp Luxury.
And we help families create abundance through the love and the harmony of home.
We are luxury real estate professionals here in Southlake and the surrounding areas.
So give us a call when you're ready to transition to your next level of luxury.